Hey guys, welcome back to Honeycomb. My name is Keo, and today we're gonna talk about a couple of sneakers that are kinda like skateboard shoes, but not quite. You'll see what I mean in a moment. But first, if it's your first time here, or if you've been watching the videos and have been enjoying them, please do click the thumbs up button and the subscribe button. Those go a long way for us here. I know everyone says it, but it really does make a difference in YouTube. And if you want us to be able to continue doing this kind of thing, we'd appreciate if you did that. Follow along on Instagram. I'm at KO Kosh on Instagram. Follow at Ajimamag on Instagram. And follow at Honeycomb Manila, which is our studio in Double Dragon Plaza, Pasay City, the Philippines. All right, let's get into the sneakers. These just came in fresh from our friends over at Nike. And so we have two sneakers that we're going to take a look at. As with everything on our channel, whether it be sneakers or coffee or whatever, the brands have no editorial review, but the truth is that, especially in the case of Nike, we're involved with them because we love the stuff that they do. So with that said, let's get into it. This is a Jordan Jumpman 23 box, and it says here on the sizing tag, Jordan Series .03 in the pecan/black Archeo brown colorway. All right, so let's open up the box. And here on the inside of the box, this is kind of like the Jordan engineered or like special non-retro box that they use. It says over here, Jumpman, inspired by greatness, designed for flight. And then on the paper, which is unusual to this particular silhouette, the paper has some nice illustration on it. And it says the Jordan Series. Now, the Jordan Series is kind of like a tribute line of sneakers, and the Jordan Series .03 is the third in the line. And the concept of the entire series of colorways, I should say, of this silhouette, and the different colorways kind of tell different stories of letters that MJ, Michael Jordan, wrote in the 90s, kind of in tribute to people who had made an impact to him. So this particular sneaker is called the Dear Coach. Let's open it up. Now, inside on that paper, we see some more illustration. And this is super cool, especially if you are a fan of sneakers and wanting to know more about kind of the design philosophy that goes into the different sneakers that we get throughout the year, especially from Jordan Brand, because Jordan Brand kind of has to straddle this line between making new silhouettes but always kind of paying tribute to a legacy without always having everything being retros, right? Here they explain the design in kind of a diagram, and I've read through this, and I'm gonna try and cover as much of it as possible as we talk about the sneakers. But when you get your sneakers, make sure that you flip out this paper and read it, because it is one of the coolest things, if you ask me, about getting this particular silhouette, is that you get the chance to really deep dive with what the designers did in Jordan Brand. Okay, so these are Dear Coach, and these are actually a tribute sneaker to Coach Phil Jackson. And that's why, the different colorways of the Jordan Tribute series pay tribute to the different people who Jordan wrote letters to in his life. So he actually wrote a letter to his older brother, his mom, to his coach, to all of the 90s. He has one that's called Dear 90s. And the sneaker as a whole pays tribute to his roots, and then the colorways pay tribute to generally different people in his life. In this case, it is Phil Jackson, and that's why it has this kind of tie-dye look on it. Now, we're expecting to see a Jordan 4 in spring of 2022 that's also tie-dye, called the Zen Master. I guess that's why they use tie-dye for this, because Phil Jackson is a little bit of a hippie. Arguably the most successful, most decorated coach of all time in the NBA. He has all those wins with the Bulls, then he has all the wins with the Los Angeles Lakers, and his coaching style was very much driven by this Zen concept. And, the way that he would coach his players, and especially with Michael Jordan, later on Kobe Bryant, was very much influenced by that kind of Zen master meditation method that Phil used. And so this sneaker is a tribute to the coach. Unlike the Jordan 4s, which are going to come out, which have, more purple, exciting, violet, pink colors, more akin to normal tie-dye. This one is tie-dyed in brown, and I like it because the other sneakers in the tribute line are brighter colors. And this one, it kind of, there's a line from D2 The Mighty Ducks where they're discussing whether or not Coach Gordon Bombay would have a coaching shoe, and maybe it would be more like a loafer than a sneaker. And this is kind of funny because that was also in the 90s. And I think that it's got the tie-dye, but it also kind of looks a little bit like a brogue, like a leather shoe. And I thought that was pretty dope. Like a coach in the 90s would wear. Coaches now do wear sneakers. Yeah, I don't think we see NBA coaches in suits anymore. All right, so now that we've talked about the colorway, let's talk about the sneaker specifically. And let's use this one because I think there are more details over here on the left shoe. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it is very much like a skate shoe. It has a vulcanized sole. And with any vulcanized sole, you see that there's that overlap bit over there. And then on the outsole, you have a pattern that's kind of inspired by a mix between the Jordan 1 and the Nike Airship, which is the first sneaker that Jordan wore in the NBA during his rookie year. That's why you have the concentric circles over here. Very iconic of the Jordan 1. Now over here, going around there, it says, "There was never any doubt." That's a tribute to something that his brother said to him. And then another tribute to his brother. The first sneaker in the tribute line is dedicated to Michael Jordan's older brother. And here it has 45 divided by 2. Now, 45 divided by 2 is 22.5. But this is basically the story as to how Michael Jordan got the number 23. Was that his older brother, played baseball. And the older brother was number 45. And MJ kind of saw himself as kind of half of his older brother, who was very much like his role model, his idol, the one who pushed him really hard when they would play in the backyard. And so when he eventually had to choose a number, he chose a number that he saw as half of 45, which is 23. He rounded up instead of rounding down, which I think is a really interesting picture to Michael Jordan's psyche, that he saw himself that way, because in every other account, Michael Jordan really saw himself as amazing. Like the guy, if you watch The Last Dance, like this guy has got an ego. And so it's super interesting to find that one moment in time where he kind of was humble when MJ decided to choose the number 23. So that's a nice little call out over there. On the tongue and over here in the embroidery are the words "Dear Coach" and "Dear Coach" over here. And those are tributes to whoever the colorway is about. And again, calling back to those letters that Michael Jordan wrote to important people in his life. And then one more detail you have on the insole. Does the insole come out? It feels like this insole is glued down, but I really want to pull it out. Oh gosh. Yeah, I don't think I can pull it out. But you can see here on the inside, it says "Swing for the Fence." Actually comes from a letter from when Michael Jordan, I believe, first joined the NBA, and his older brother, who this sneaker talks about in the silhouette form, wrote him a letter. And in that letter, he told MJ, his younger brother, basically that he believed in him and that he should swing for the fence. So that's a quote directly from that letter. So what you have here is a sneaker that is a letter from his brother, his idol, to MJ, and then MJ then writing back tribute letters to other people who were really important to him in his career and in his life. So you see the sneaker and you feel like, okay, this is basically like a Vans, like a skate shoe. But then you find out there's so much story and so much legacy But it actually goes even deeper when you look at the breakdown of the sneaker, because if you look over here, they did something technical where they put this big elastic section on one of the eyelets, and they're calling that the adaptive eye stay, aka it's garter. So this garter thing, it makes some really nice flex, and it gives some really nice flex for when you're walking, designed for all day walking. And if you do intend to use this for skateboarding, which you could, that's going to give you some nice toe flex if you need to bend your toe this way. The traction is not quite as good as, say, a Blazer in terms of skateboarding traction, but it'll get the job done, honestly, if you wanted to use it in that way. Again, it's not designed for that. It's kind of designed as a walking shoe. But if you wanted to use it for skateboarding, I can see very much how this would work, given that kind of classic Vans vulcanized skateboarding, Converse One Star look and design. But unlike those sneakers, this one really has calls out to legacy. And maybe you're wondering why I have the A Ma Maniére Jordan 1 over here. And I wanted to show you guys something. And you see how we were talking about that eye stay, that adaptive eye stay? Well, that actually kind of bifurcates, divides a sneaker into two sections, the toe section and the midfoot to heel section. And in the midfoot to heel section, you can see the design elements from the Jordan 1, especially this stitch line over here and the heel section back over here. These are kind of call outs to the Jordan 1. It uses kind of like a rubberized leather over here on the heel. There's kind of a heel counter for stability. And then the toe section you see is quite different. It's not the same at all from a Jordan 1. And that's because this toe section is actually a call out, or it takes design elements from the Nike Airship, which was Michael Jordan's actual first sneaker when he joined the NBA. And the Nike Airship was actually the sneaker that eventually would get banned by the NBA. And then Nike would use that storyline of the banned sneaker to run a Michael Jordan ad campaign. Now, televisions were not high definition, were not 4K. They were analog, fuzzy shots. These long telephoto lenses distorted a lot back then. And all you could really see was the colors of the sneaker. So the Nike Airship actually had some significant design differences from the Jordan 1. Specifically, the perforations here on the toe, you can see, are very different. And this little rand over here that leads up to the eye stay. So this U-shaped bottom part just before the vamp, that is not on the Jordan 1. In fact, it's kind of reminiscent of a Air Force One. So it's really interesting where you see that Airship. I don't have a pair of Airships. They're kind of really hard to get, really expensive to get as well. But it's interesting to see because we also have that rand on the Air Force One. So you kind of see the lineage of Nike basketball, Air Force One, into the Airship, into the Jordan 1, into the Dunk. Extra details, different colored tips on the laces. There's no marking on these laces. And then the tongue is made out of a very comfortable nylon tongue. If you watch the channel, you know that I like nylon tongues on my Jordans, on my Jordan 1s at least. And this is a nice, same technology that's being used. And then they added some holes for comfort and this kind of double loop in the middle of the tongue to keep it from moving from side to side. On foot, it would appear that works. Also on foot, these are a little bit loose. So you can go true to size and they will be very usable for you. If you are a wide footer, go true to size. It's intended for really a walking shoe. But if you want a kind of tight 1:1 fit, right up against your foot, you do have the option of going down half a size. The Jordan Series 03 Deer Coach is available. I think it's still available on the Nike app. It's just below 4,000 pesos. It's 3,900 pesos, which is $80. And if you can't get it on the Nike app, they're relatively easy to pick up in different places, but I don't imagine that they're going to be re-releasing them. So if you want to get this particular colorway, pick them up as soon as possible. I just checked the Nike app and they only have it in size 9.5 and size 10. So they did sell quite aggressively on the Nike app, but you can put in a call to places like We Legendary, which is a local skate shop in our area of Metro Manila, or the Jordan store, Jordan Manila, and see if they have this in your size. Now, very quickly, I do want to talk about another pair of sneakers that I'm going to open up over here, since we are talking about vulcanized skateboard-esque sneakers. And this is a nice Nike Sportswear classic box with that Nike swoosh. Love the orange. I actually really like this particular orange. On the sizing tab, it says Nike Blazer Mid 77 Vintage in the white/black. Size 9.5, 11 women's. Let's open it up. Look at that. The Nike Blazer is another sneaker, and I mentioned it earlier, a little bit better traction for skateboarding, and you have that very classic traction over there. But this is another vulcanized sneaker from Nike that they've really been bringing back over the last few years. We've really seen a resurgence of this style of blazer. Now, we do have the skateboarding specific, the Nike SB Blazer, and if you are living a more skateboard centric lifestyle, you might want to look into those. But in terms of style, this is a great way to go. That little bit of suede right there, long hair suede here on the toe and here on the lateral side, really makes a huge difference. If you ask me, like, it's the details on this sneaker. And speaking about the details, you have another nice nylon tongue, some nice kind of pre-vintage vibes here with a kind of an already aged looking peach tongue over here, and that vintage exposed foam. A lot of people attribute this style to Virgil Abloh, but this is really a vintage thing that he had brought back into the vernacular. One of the things that Virgil was so amazing at doing. The leather on this particular blazer is actually really nice. It's a chrome tan leather, which you can tell when you look in there and you see it's kind of a little bit blue, but it is very genuine leather, so it does feel very much like genuine leather. It's not cheap or imitation leather to the best of my knowledge. Now, there's no way to really know without slicing this thing open, but just kind of on my semi-trained eye, from what I can tell, the quality really is very nice on this pair of blazers. The swoosh, you can barely tell, but they've done it in like a nubuck, and the nubuck is kind of like a fine, like ultra dense version of suede, right? So you have the contrast right here on the sneaker. You have the leather, and then you have the suede, long hair suede, and then you have the nubuck. Making that swoosh nubuck really is a fine detail where it just absorbs light. It doesn't shine any light back, and it makes the sneaker just a little bit more luxurious. Now, chrome tan leather is used in, it's not the top of the line leather. If you look at, other white sneakers that are quite expensive, like say a Common Projects, they're also using that same slightly blue chrome tan leather. So in terms of the quality for what you're getting, what a great shoe this is. If you can get your hands on them, these tend to sell pretty quickly. And these nice vintage looks, vintage vibes of kind of this cream sail midsole on the vulcanizing strip, that makes a huge deal. And then the multi-tones of white. Now, sizing for blazers, I usually recommend that you go true to size on the blazers because they are a little bit more narrow. If you remember, just earlier we said to go true to size or down half a size in the Jordans, and you can see right away these are both size 9.5. Both of these are size 9.5, but the Jordan is a little bit wider and actually a little bit shorter. See how much black sticks out from the Jordan sneaker versus the blazer? Yeah, so that's a big difference in terms of how wide the sneaker is. Now, you can also see this shape over here where it moves up and outwards. That gives you a little bit more stepping surface, a little bit more surface to land your foot on, but it still doesn't change that the blazer is kind of a very classic Nike retro sneaker, which means it's a little bit more narrow versus kind of the average, at least the average Asian shaped foot, is my experience. And that's why you see like new Nike basketball sneakers have the performance fit, which is the, I think they call it EP or PF. And those basically mean that they're a little bit wider. They're on a different last. Another call out on that tissue paper was that these are made on a brand new last, which I am gonna say is for comfort. So between these two sneakers, this one is a little bit more comfortable. This one is a little bit more stylish, I guess I could say. But retro is always a little bit more stylish, a little bit more hype. But in terms of new silhouettes, comfortable beaters that you can wear all day, this is an excellent choice. The Nike Tribute Series, the Jordan Series. The Jordan Series, which is a tribute series based on letters that Michael Jordan wrote and a letter that was written by Michael Jordan's brother to him. I gotta say, I like that storytelling a little bit more than, say, Michael Jordan liked to chew bubblegum. So let's have some bubblegum sneakers. So if you are a fan of sneakers, I think you'll enjoy this. If you like these sneakers, we have another unboxing and review on the channel. If you're not subscribed, do subscribe. Click the like button and tell a friend. All right, I wish you guys good luck. I wish you guys good health. Peace.